Hey guys, it's me again. Um, there's a bunch of crazy things happening today, and this week is kind of an important week for a lot of us who are watching for the Lord's return, and the return being the rapture. And a lot of people are excited, excited, skeptical as always, but still hoping that He would come and get us this week, hopefully. But there are other stuff going on around the world, and that's making it really hard for us to want to stay here a minute longer. There's stuff going around. I'm hearing people say that they're gonna do stuff to our food supply, our water supply. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not really gonna spell it out, but right now, before I get going with my usual rant, it's gonna be a short one anyway. I'd like to just sort of pray, and maybe you guys could just pray with me in agreement and all that. Maybe share this video, or you don't have to. My faithful 10 viewers watch my videos. I appreciate you watching, but maybe our little circle is it, and we just need to pray. So if you can just sort of pray with me in your hearts, agree with me. I'm going to say a quick prayer. Father, I just pray for your supernatural protection as the evil rulers of this country and in this world plot their evil schemes for their purposes, whatever it is. I pray, Lord, that you would supernaturally protect those of us who belong to you, and just thwart their plans until you get us all out of here, we who belong to you, Jesus. And just give us peace, and help us just keep our eyes focused on you, as it's become literally impossible to figure out who's telling the truth, if indeed anybody else is telling the truth in the mainstream media. So just I pray again, Lord, for your guidance, your wisdom, and your peace that surpasses understanding. I pray, Lord, that you would just protect us, keep us all healthy, keep us all safe. And I pray, Lord, that you would really come for all of us soon, your body, and get us out of here. And hopefully this week, hopefully not much later than that. And we ask you in your name, Jesus. Amen. Okay, so weird things are happening. The just one little short rant I want to have is the passage, the one I always like to quote, Jesus saying, when you see all these things happening, he's talking about the birth pangs, for us to look up, for our redemption draws near. Now, up until recently, I've always understood that passage to mean that, when we see all these things happening all around us, like the wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, etc., for us to look up, for our redemption is near, meaning for us to both literally be looking up and I guess metaphorically looking up, but for us basically to be in anticipation of his soon appearing. That we are to basically get excited, do not be troubled. He instructs us in that same passage, or around that same passage. But I've always understood that passage when he tells us to look up is to basically just be in some sort of joyful anticipation that he is coming for us soon, whatever soon means. And that's true. That very well could still be true. But until the past couple of days, I never really thought about another possible interpretation of that. And it's not really deep or profound, but it's probably obvious to most of you, to a lot of you. But I think that one possible meaning of that, when Jesus is telling us to look up, I believe he possibly could be telling us to look up into the sky, the constellations and the stars, and start trying to figure out all these things based on what's on the constellations, and try to figure out, the timing of the rapture is appearing. Just like, the wise men figured out where Jesus was going to be born by studying the stars. I believe that today we're to do the same thing with the rapture. And when Jesus is telling us to look up for our redemption draws near, I don't think he only means to, wait and look up and be anticipating his return and having that joyful attitude that he is coming soon. I think that he could be instructing us, or at least those of us who has the ability and the smarts to do these kind of things, to look into the sky, look into the stars, and try to study what's going on, and maybe figure it out for the rest of us who are not so smart. When his appearing might be, and a lot of people are already doing that. I'm talking about the stellarium and all that stuff when they study the constellations, and I find it really interesting that we now live in the day and age where we have this stellarium, literally in the palm of our hands, where we can go into a deep dive into these stars and try to figure out the movements of the stars and the planets and how they line up. And I know that throughout the decades and maybe centuries, Satan has perverted, the constellations into astrology, and which is completely demonic in my opinion. But that's what he does. He perverts things that God intended to be pure and for our edification and for his glory. Satan finds a way to twist it and pervert it. But I think there is the right way to read the stars, and obviously we have to be led by the Spirit, guided by His Word, and some people are very, very good at it, which is why some people are really excited about this coming Passover / Easter, because they're reading into these constellations, and they're seeing patterns, they're seeing certain planets that represent certain things. Not smart enough to figure all that out on my own, so I just have to rely on other people's analysis. But yeah, when Jesus is saying look up, I believe he could mean for us to look up into the heavens and try to study the stars, planets, and maybe it'll reveal his appearing. Because I know a lot of people like to use that nobody knows the day or the hour, and as I've been saying, it has nothing to do with the rapture. And I always refer to Revelation 3 verse 4, where it strongly implies that we can know the day or the hour, especially when these things are happening. These things are happening now, so we need to look up and figure out what's going on and when he's coming back for us, for our redemption draws near. And I think by studying the skies, we'll know exactly how near our redemption is, the rapture. And I think he wants us to know. Yeah, and he does want us to work for it. That's just how he is. There's a passage of the Bible, that's the glory of God to conceal a thing and the glory of kings to find them out or something. I probably butchered that passage. But, prophecy, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the end times prophecy, specifically the rapture, I think now that's when you sort of throw out the Bible scholars. I'm talking about those guys who went to seminary, and whenever you quote a verse to them or whatever, they're gonna start talking about hermeneutics, exegesis, this, blah blah blah. Those guys, I think they're too rigid for this kind of thing. I think prophetic things, you cannot be basically you can't be full of yourself, trusting in your own wisdom and your degree, your PhD or whatever it is you get from those seminaries. And just no. What you need is a humble heart, someone who's seeking the Lord, someone who is willing to think outside the box and be unconventional. Those who are not of the quote-unquote establishment in the Christian world. We're one body with many parts. These scholarly types of teachers who can, expound on verses and give us, whatever, get into the word like with the deeper meanings or whatever, the hermeneutic guys. There's a time and place for those guys, for sure. They're not completely useless, and we need them in the body of Christ, but not when it comes to prophecy. No, we need the guys who have childlike faith, guys who are not trying to maintain an image or credibility among their intellectual circles. Because if you really want to lose your credibility or look like an idiot, then you need to start talking about prophecy and start telling people that Jesus is coming soon. That's one quick way to lose credibility among, the quote unquote pillars of modern Christianity. We have these guys who are, pastors, well known pastors that are considered to be really smart, and they have, sound doctrine and all that. But, when it comes to prophecy, those are probably the least qualified men to be able to tell us about the return of Jesus. They talk like experts when it comes to those things, but they're not. They're way too prideful. I don't think God's going to reveal anything to them because they're too set in their ways, and they care more about their reputation and their churches, their local churches, than the actual appearing of Jesus. Because, like I've been saying for a long time now, rapture is bad business for the local church. And when you start getting into actually trying to figure out the day and the hour, then that's when you're really going to start losing your intellectual people. And they're way too in love with their reputation and the honor they get from the big names, I guess, in the modern day Christian world. But so yeah, that's my brief rant today. I hope he comes back for us soon. I'm really hoping it's this weekend. If not, then we'll just keep looking up, in anticipation and in studying the constellations. And I'm not smart enough to do that, so hopefully some of you guys are. And yeah, feel free to share your studies if you're doing any of that. So until next time.